Have you ever felt the unsettling suspicion that someone in your life may not be as genuine as they seem? What if their words of friendship, affection, or camaraderie are merely tools to keep you close, while their actions reveal a more selfish intent? As we navigate the vast web of human relationships, one truth rings louder each day. Not everyone who crosses our path is here to uplift us. Some, however subtly, are present only to extract whatever value they see fit, leaving us depleted and questioning our worth. In this exploration, we turn to the wisdom of Stoicism to bring clarity to such situations. Stoic principles urge us to act with discernment, valuing honesty and integrity over appearances and empty words. This video unveils the signs of a person who may be using you, guiding you through the subtle yet powerful indicators of selfish intent. We'll examine 8 critical behaviors that reveal when someone cares more about what you can give than about who you are. Prepare to see the patterns that often go unnoticed, to look beyond charm and charisma, and to identify the relationships worth cherishing and those you might be better off without. In the final segment, we'll discuss a Stoic approach to navigating these revelations, finding inner resilience, and embracing relationships that honor mutual respect and authenticity. As we progress, consider your own experiences and interactions. Are there signs you may have overlooked? Let's embark on this journey towards self-awareness and empowerment. 1. Persistent lack of respect. Respect is the bedrock of any meaningful relationship. Without it, every interaction becomes laced with tension, suspicion, and an underlying sense of imbalance. But how often do we pause to ask ourselves if respect is truly present in our relationships? A person who doesn't genuinely care for you will often let subtle or even overt signs of disrespect slip into the way they treat you. It may seem minor at first, a dismissive comment here, a belittling joke there. But these actions accumulate, revealing a pattern of disregard for your dignity and worth. Imagine a garden where each plant represents a relationship. For relationships to flourish, they must be nurtured with the sunlight of respect and the water of mutual regard. Without these, the soil becomes barren, and nothing healthy can grow. Do you find yourself feeling minimized or dismissed in someone's presence? Are you constantly walking on eggshells, fearful of saying or doing something that might provoke their disdain? Respect is not only shown through grand gestures. It resides in the small, everyday acknowledgments of another's worth and in the kindness we extend through our words and actions. Stoicism teaches that we should always strive to act with virtue, regardless of the behavior of others. But Stoicism also urges us to protect our peace and cultivate relationships that honor our values. When someone habitually disrespects you, they disrupt your internal harmony, testing your patience, humility, and tolerance. Remember, consistent disrespect is more than a mere personality flaw. It's a choice that reflects their intentions. This realization alone should guide you to reevaluate the relationship. Are they truly invested in your well-being, or do they see you as someone to dominate, control, or demean? Disrespect often emerges in disagreements. Rather than seeking resolution with understanding and empathy, someone who doesn't care for you will view these moments as battlefields, with little regard for the emotional casualties left behind. Such a person may constantly seek the upper hand, dismissing your perspective and invalidating your feelings. The Stoic approach here is to recognize that respect in a relationship isn't negotiable. When it is absent, Stoicism encourages us to step back, reflect on our worth, and understand that respect is a non-negotiable foundation of any balanced and healthy connection. In navigating this pattern of disrespect, ask yourself, are you willing to tolerate a relationship that undermines your self-respect? Stoicism would advise not to let anyone erode your self-worth. The clarity that comes from recognizing persistent disrespect empowers us to set boundaries, fostering an environment where only those who uphold our values and respect our dignity remain. Let us carry this lesson into our next segment, where we address another significant behavior: the failure to fulfill promises. 2. Failure to fulfill promises. Promises are the threads woven into the fabric of trust in any relationship. When someone frequently breaks their promises, they unravel this fabric, leaving you feeling unsupported and questioning their intentions. Think of a person whose words sound sincere, painting vivid pictures of commitment and support. But when the time arrives for them to act, they are nowhere to be found. Does this sound familiar? In Stoicism, actions hold greater weight than words. Epictetus once said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." This sentiment resonates with the idea that true care is demonstrated by actions, not empty assurances. A person who repeatedly fails to follow through on their promises reveals their priorities through their absence. When promises are made and broken, their words become hollow performances, a show of sincerity with no substance behind it. Are we willing to accept this illusion, or should we demand the authenticity that Stoicism values? Every unfulfilled promise leaves behind a small wound, a void that grows each time they disappear when you need them most. Perhaps they promised to be there in times of need, or assured you of their support when challenges arise. Yet, each instance of abandonment reinforces a harsh truth. They are not as invested in the relationship as their words might imply. Imagine trusting someone to catch you as you fall, only to realize they never intended to be there. Over time, this experience teaches a painful lesson. Not all promises are built on the foundation of honesty and integrity. Why do people make promises they can't keep? Often, it's to maintain a favorable image, manipulate trust, or gain temporary advantage. By creating an impression of reliability, they extract loyalty, affection, or support from others without the intention of reciprocating it. This behavior reflects a transactional view of relationships, where promises become tools to achieve personal gains, not genuine commitments. As Marcus Aurelius advised, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Instead of dwelling on their failure, a Stoic approach would encourage us to recognize the pattern and prioritize our peace over their empty words. But how do we cope with this recurring disappointment? The key is discernment. Ask yourself, is this person's pattern of broken promises worth the emotional toll it takes? Each instance of failure becomes a reminder to recalibrate our expectations and protect our inner peace. Stoicism encourages us to place trust where it is deserved and to avoid the suffering that comes from misplaced expectations. Recognize that fulfilling a promise requires effort, empathy, and respect, qualities that are crucial in anyone we consider close. The Stoic path is clear. When someone's actions contradict their words, we must shift our focus to what they do, not what they say. Understanding this discrepancy between words and actions equips us with the wisdom to distinguish those who truly care from those who only pretend to. Moving forward, we'll examine another subtle behavior that reveals a self-serving character: the habit of one-sided reciprocity. 3. One-sided reciprocity. Imagine giving freely, pouring your time, energy, and care into a relationship, only to find that these efforts are not reciprocated. One-sided reciprocity is the hallmark of a person who sees relationships purely as a source of personal gain. They may depend on you for emotional support, financial assistance, or practical help. Yet when the roles are reversed, they are conspicuously absent or dismissive of your needs. Why do we allow such imbalances to persist? In Stoicism, relationships are viewed as partnerships built on mutual respect and shared values. A self-centered person disregards this balance, viewing others as resources to tap into at will, disregarding the need for give and take. Their absence during times of your need reflects their self-focused nature, showing that they value what they can gain over what they can give. This is not a lapse in etiquette, but a mindset that sees relationships as transactions rather than bonds of mutual support. Such a person often comes to you with requests, perhaps asking for favors or leaning on you during their hardships. Yet, If you were to seek the same from them, you might find a lack of empathy or a refusal cloaked in excuses. Do you feel that your relationship contributions are undervalued? Marcus Aurelius reminds us, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Apply this wisdom by honoring your values and striving to be a person who values reciprocity and balance, regardless of others' actions. To identify one-sided reciprocity, notice patterns. Are you always the one reaching out, making plans, or offering support? Are your emotional investments met with indifference or evasion? Stoicism advises us to be mindful of where we place our energy. When we recognize that a relationship is leaving us drained, we can choose to either address the imbalance openly or redirect our energy toward connections that respect the natural rhythm of give and take. The decision to address or leave such an unbalanced relationship isn't easy. Stoicism teaches that true contentment arises when our actions align with our values. By respecting ourselves enough to expect balanced reciprocity, we can avoid the resentment that comes from feeling perpetually shortchanged. As we deepen our understanding of self-centered behaviors, we next turn to a tactic even more covert, yet deeply damaging: emotional manipulation. 4. Emotional manipulation. Emotional manipulation is a tactic often employed by those who seek control in a relationship, a form of psychological game-playing that destabilizes the other person, fostering dependency. It usually begins with charm, as the manipulator projects a caring image, winning trust through compliments and seemingly thoughtful gestures. But soon this warmth shifts, and a more calculating side emerges. Are you frequently left feeling anxious, inadequate, or guilty in their presence? Stoicism teaches us to be masters of our own emotions, to remain grounded and aware of the inner world, despite others' attempts to sway us. When dealing with emotional manipulators, this advice is especially valuable. Such individuals have an uncanny ability to exploit our emotional vulnerabilities, shifting between approval and criticism to maintain control. They praise when it suits their purpose, only to undermine you later, sowing seeds of self-doubt. Like a gardener who alternates between overwatering and neglecting a plant, they create a state of emotional dependency, keeping you off balance and seeking their validation. Consider how this tactic affects your mental peace. Does their behavior make you question your worth? Manipulators often trivialize your achievements or inflate your shortcomings, creating a narrative where you feel perpetually at fault. This pattern of emotional highs and lows is not accidental. It's a carefully curated approach to destabilize and control, leaving you reliant on their approval. Stoicism urges us to find our sense of worth within ourselves, to value inner resilience over the fleeting validation of others. To break free from emotional manipulation, recognize the power dynamics at play. The Stoic perspective reminds us that only we can control our emotional responses. When faced with manipulation, take a step back and observe their behavior without reacting impulsively. Ask yourself, are you willing to live in a state of perpetual self-doubt just to maintain this relationship? True strength, according to Stoicism, lies in detachment from those who do not value our well-being. Use this understanding to protect your peace and maintain your dignity. Our next focus will address another behavior, often linked with manipulation: a disregard for your needs or feelings, a pattern that erodes one's self-worth over time. 5. Disregard for your needs or feelings. Imagine tending to a garden where only one flower is allowed to bloom while all others are neglected. In relationships marked by disregard, this is precisely how the other person treats your emotional needs. Your thoughts, feelings, and concerns are dismissed or sidelined as they focus solely on their own desires and priorities. Does this person truly value you if they consistently make you feel invisible or undervalued? From the Stoic perspective, recognizing and valuing our inner peace is essential. A person who disregards your needs undermines this peace, cultivating an environment where your self-worth erodes. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." If someone's disregard leaves you feeling diminished, it affects the quality of your thoughts and ultimately your sense of self. This disregard can take many forms. They might ignore your requests for support, fail to acknowledge your achievements, or even minimize your struggles. Rather than offering understanding or compassion, they may respond with indifference, a subtle yet profound way of asserting their own importance over yours. When someone continually disregards your needs, it's not just insensitivity, it's a tactic that keeps you in a lesser position, stripping away the natural reciprocity that should be present in any meaningful connection. Ask yourself, are your emotions and opinions valued, or are they dismissed as inconsequential? Stoicism encourages us to cultivate inner strength and to seek environments where our emotional well-being is supported, not undermined. While we cannot control others, we can control how we respond. In this case, the response may mean re-evaluating the relationship and choosing to invest in connections that honor your feelings. When faced with such disregard, a Stoic approach would be to set boundaries. While Stoicism teaches compassion, it also values self-respect. Protecting your own emotional needs is not selfish. It is an act of self-preservation that ensures you do not sacrifice your peace for someone who cannot reciprocate. Let this recognition guide you forward as we examine another behavior that signals a lack of care: diminishing or disdainful comments. 6. Diminishing or disdainful comments. Few things erode confidence as quietly, yet effectively, as constant, diminishing comments. A person who only uses you may employ subtle, critical remarks that trivialize your successes, goals, or opinions, often cloaked in humor or casual conversation. This behavior is a quiet yet persistent form of manipulation, keeping you in a state of self-doubt. Are you frequently left questioning your worth after interactions with them? Stoicism teaches us to be vigilant stewards of our minds. When someone habitually chips away at our self-esteem, it not only undermines our peace, but also distorts our self-image. A person who belittles others often does so from a place of insecurity, projecting their own inadequacies by diminishing the achievements or aspirations of others. Such behavior, as Stoic wisdom reminds us, says more about them than it does about us. These diminishing remarks may sound like mere jokes, but they often carry barbed hooks meant to pull you down rather than lift you up. For example, they might trivialize your goals as unrealistic or downplay your achievements as lucky breaks. By systematically undervaluing your aspirations, they establish a power dynamic where you are perpetually in a position of self-doubt. It becomes a calculated move to maintain control, as your lowered self-esteem reinforces their position of dominance. Reflect on how these comments make you feel. Are they uplifting, or do they subtly erode your confidence? Stoicism encourages us to protect our mental well-being by recognizing the impact of such interactions. Once aware, we can either confront the individual or distance ourselves, depending on the circumstances. Boundaries allow us to safeguard our peace, ensuring that we do not internalize the negativity of others. As we continue, consider the ways people may subtly compete with us. Our next focus is on those who view relationships as a constant competition, creating a dynamic of rivalry rather than mutual support. 7. Selective availability. Another hallmark of a person who only uses you is selective availability. Imagine trying to reach someone who is always there when they need something but rarely present when you reach out. This imbalance is more than a mere scheduling conflict. It's a deliberate choice to keep control and distance, reinforcing that they are there on their terms, not yours. Have you found yourself waiting or feeling unimportant because of someone's selective availability? Stoicism teaches us that genuine relationships are founded on mutual respect and presence, especially in times of need. A self-serving individual treats availability as a privilege they alone control, leaving you to feel as though you're at their mercy, grateful for the rare instances when they do show up. This inconsistent availability is not a mark of their busy life, but a strategy to keep you on edge, perpetually hopeful for their next appearance. Consider how they respond when you reach out. Do they make excuses, delay responses, or offer superficial explanations? Selective availability creates an imbalance where your effort to connect is met with neglect, while their needs are readily prioritized. This dynamic can leave you questioning your worth in their life, gradually diminishing your self-esteem and placing them in a position of power. As Stoic philosophy advises, recognize the cost of this emotional toll and ask yourself, is this relationship enhancing my peace or chipping away at it? To handle selective availability, a Stoic approach suggests detaching from the dependency such people attempt to create. By expecting less and cultivating self-sufficiency, you free yourself from their inconsistency. You are no longer emotionally tied to their unpredictable presence, allowing you to regain control over your own sense of self-worth. With this understanding, we turn to another insidious behavior: superficial closeness, where relationships are kept on the surface without genuine emotional depth. 8. Superficial closeness. Superficial closeness is like the shimmering surface of a lake, appearing deep and genuine until you realize it lacks true substance. A person who only uses you may mimic the gestures of friendship or affection, creating an illusion of intimacy. However, when you look closer, you notice that their interest is shallow, maintained only as long as it is convenient for them. Do they share in your joys and triumphs, but disappear in moments of need? In Stoicism, true relationships are based on mutual respect, shared values, and an authentic commitment to each other's well-being. Superficial connections, by contrast, are characterized by a lack of genuine depth. They may engage in regular communication, sharing laughs or engaging in intimate conversations, but when the moment calls for real support, they are conspicuously absent. This absence reveals that their closeness was only a facade, a performance sustained to reap the benefits of association without the responsibilities of true friendship. Superficial closeness lacks the essential elements of trust and reliability. Plans may be made, only to be casually broken. Promises are given but rarely kept. These individuals enjoy the perks of the relationship, but withdraw at the first sign of inconvenience. Their participation is often based on convenience rather than any sincere commitment. By keeping people at arm's length, they protect themselves from any genuine emotional investment, treating relationships as tools for personal gain rather than spaces for mutual growth. When you identify this pattern, reflect on the nature of your relationship. Does it bring you fulfillment, or does it feel more like an obligation to keep up appearances? Stoicism teaches us to value quality over quantity in our relationships, prioritizing those connections that enhance our lives. Recognizing superficial closeness allows us to invest our energy wisely, seeking relationships that bring authentic support and emotional depth. Throughout this journey of reflection, we have delved into the subtle signs that reveal a person who may only be using you without genuine care. From a persistent lack of respect to superficial closeness, each behavior highlights their self-serving nature. Recognizing these patterns empowers us to protect our inner peace, fostering a circle of connections that are built on respect, reciprocity, and genuine support. Stoicism teaches that we have the power to cultivate resilience, focusing on relationships that honor our values and enrich our lives. If this exploration has resonated with you, share your insights in the comments below. How have you navigated relationships with individuals who only seem to take without giving? Your experiences may offer guidance to others on a similar path. Remember to like this video, subscribe for more content on Stoicism and self-development, and share this knowledge with those who might benefit from it. Thank you for joining us in this journey towards self-awareness and meaningful connections. May you find strength in wisdom and peace in authentic relationships.